Been waiting a long time to talk about Roadhouse. Roadhouse is a timeless classic. And when I say that, I mean it's 80s as fuck. In fact, it's my favorite movie from the 80s. This was the decade that we got the rise of the tough guy. Badass dudes that didn't take shit. And if someone pushed them far enough, they would destroy everything in sight. It was before there were any formulas to make a billion-dollar movie. So they just made anything they could think of. They would throw shit at the wall, and if it stuck, they would make sequels. And at the pinnacle of this time, just before the 90s hit, we got this gem.
Sorry, we're closed.
Well, then what are all these people doing here?
Drinking and having a good time.
Well, that's why we're here.
You're too stupid to have a good time.
It encapsulates everything great about 80s flicks. It's almost like Roadhouse was this send-off to the 80s. The plot is basic. There's a badass dude comes to a small town to fix a rambunctious bar, and in turn, he saves the town. And this dude's name is Dalton. He's not just a bouncer, he's the next evolution, the next form, the next step up, the advanced bouncer, the super bouncer. This man is a cooler.
You are the bouncers, I am the cooler. All you have to do is watch my back and each other's. Take out the trash.
A cooler is hired to take a bar or club that can't control their customers and train a team of bouncers to handle these feisty patrons. And as Dalton is cleaning up seemingly the only bar in Jasper, Missouri, also known as the Double Deuce, he gets noticed by Brad Wesley, the richest man in town.
You know, when I came to this town after Korea, there was nothing. I brought the mall here. I got the 7-Eleven. I got the photomat here. Christ, J.C. Penney is coming here because of me.
He's got this stranglehold on every business in town, and his goons are the ones that keeps everyone in check. These dudes like to frequent the Double Deuce. So naturally, as they cause trouble, Dalton beats the piss out of these fellas. And Brad Wesley doesn't like that. Really quick, basic recap. Dalton comes to town, beats up these goons, falls in love with the hot doctor, then things start escalating. And people start dying. And places and businesses start to explode. Throats get ripped. It's awesome. Dalton wins, beats Brad Wesley. The day is saved. The town is saved. That's Roadhouse. Simple, effective, tough guy 80s movie. That is all I'm looking for with the 80s. Is just some chick walking into frame, ass level. So as you're just looking at the ass that's on the screen, right next to it, Roadhouse pops up. Ass, Roadhouse, there's your movie. They let you know, hey, this is Roadhouse. We're not fucking around. Notable characters. Obviously Dalton, one of the coolest characters ever. He's calm, he's collected, but he'll fuck you up if you deserve it. If he enters a room, his presence alone demands respect. You got the hot doctor, and obviously Patrick Swayze makes quick work of her. I mean, when you offer a dude some antiseptic before you staple up his fresh knife wound, and he says,
"Do you enjoy pain?"
Pain don't hurt.
Come on, I got wet. Dalton's mentor that taught him everything he knows, Wade Garrett, the best cooler in the business, even cooler than Dalton. He shows up and he's like, "Hey, mijo."
How's it going, mijo?
You want to fight, dickless?
I sure ain't gonna show you my dick. Damn, that hurts, doesn't it?
Diddly 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 diddly. Brad Wesley, the rich bad guy. Total asshole, but charismatic as fuck. Awesome, power-hungry villain, and he hates bleeders.
I'm sorry. You disgust me, O'Connor. You want to know why you disgust me?
No, why, boss?
Because you're a bleeder. You bleed too much.
Brad Wesley has his own human weapon, martial arts rival to Dalton. His name's Jimmy.
Jimmy!
Jimmy has one of the best lines in the movie.
I used to fuck guys like you in prison.
Yeah, there's a lot to dissect there. Jimmy gets his throat ripped out. Speaking of one-liners, this movie is full of them. There are so many lines from this movie that I have either said in life or I've heard other people say throughout my entire life. And they're all great. Upon rewatching for like the 1 millionth time, I think this one is underrated and probably my favorite line of the movie.
This Dalton character, what's his story?
Story is, you fuck with him and he'll seal your fate.
Fuck with him, he'll seal your fate. Ugh. Honestly, I could go on and on and on about Roadhouse. I fucking love that movie. Last thing I want to talk about is how it ends, because it's hilarious. After Brad Wesley ramps up the intimidation on all these poor townsfolk, he blows up their businesses, he has one of his goons kill Wade Garrett. Dalton has had enough. It's time to not be nice. So he goes to Brad Wesley's mansion, kills Brad Wesley's goons, pushes a polar bear on Tinker, ends up getting in a fight with Brad Wesley, gets the upper hand, and as he's about to pull whatever this move is, he decides not to kill Brad Wesley. Because even though he's capable of killing, he doesn't want to be that guy. So out of nowhere, the business owners around town shoot the fuck out of Brad Wesley. Then they hide all their guns in Brad Wesley's house. And for the first time in the whole movie, the fucking cops show up. They see bodies everywhere and they want some answers. This leaves the business owners looking around and saying, I don't know what happened. I didn't see nothing.
I didn't see nothing. You see anything, Pete?
No, I didn't see anything. You see anything, Red? I didn't see nothing. Not a thing.
Then Tinker shows up, alive, and he says, a polar bear fell on me.
You see anything, Tinker?
A polar bear fell on me.
And everybody laughs, and we end on this lighter note of everybody laughing because what Tinker said was funny, and nothing happens to anyone. They show Dalton and the hot doctor skinny dipping in the lake, credits roll, the end, happily ever after, masterful movie. Okay, this doesn't open up on some chick's ass. It opens up with a first-person view punching somebody's face in a fight. Okay, we meet Dalton. He's not a cooler. He's not a bouncer at all. Okay. This lady looking for help from someone else, Post Malone of all people, she sees that no one wanted to fight Dalton. And for some reason, that prompts her to offer him a job. Because just recently, there's a bad element that's been coming in and riling up her bar. The Roadhouse. In the Florida Keys? In a Roadhouse remake, why would you change the name of the bar to The Roadhouse? Is that supposed to be a joke? Why the Florida Keys? So right off the bat, that 80s hard edge, it's shaved right off. I'm not feeling the toughness here. Lots of jokes, silly dialogue, and characters acting silly.
Tell me about this bouncer. Yeah, it's all nice, like he's Mr. Rogers or something. Really interesting guy, overall.
It took almost no time for me to get the impression that this wasn't meant to originally be a Roadhouse movie, but it was a close enough script to retrofit it into a Roadhouse movie for that recognizable name. I think they took a totally random movie that was kind of like Roadhouse. Some intern noticed, hey, this is kind of like Roadhouse. And somebody in marketing was like, we could use that. While you're watching this, to enjoy it, you have to think of it as a separate thing. Because it's nothing like Roadhouse from 1989. Dalton is way too indifferent about everything, and he acts too nice. He tries way too hard just to not care in general, so he doesn't get worked up into a fight, so he doesn't kill anyone on accident. Swayze's Dalton is intimidating as fuck, and just knows himself well enough to not immediately fight someone. He has his own set of rules for himself and other people. He's a well-established cooler. Jake just roams around finding random fights to fight in, and by chance gets offered a job at the Roadhouse. He doesn't have a Wade Garrett mentor. He doesn't have this reputation in the bar industry for being a badass motherfucker. He's just a former MMA fighter that quit because he, killed a guy. For the record, no one has ever died in a UFC fight. His character would have been the first person to kill somebody in the UFC. They also didn't use enough of the UFC angle. I think if you're really gonna push the UFC angle, you should write that more into your story, right? All the other characters are either new or just washed down versions of the originals, and we don't get enough of the versions of the originals. This is clearly not originally a Roadhouse script. There is a rich bad guy, but it's not his money, it's his dad's money, and his dad is controlling things from prison, and we never see that guy. And once the rich guy, once the son of the rich guy, it's his goons, once they can't beat up Jake Gyllenhaal enough to intimidate the bar owner to leave the bar and give up her land, because that's what the deal is. They want the bar owner to leave by means of intimidation, and that's why she got Jake Gyllenhaal in there. He's so bad at the job, though. He lets the bar go to shit, and there's never any improvement of him being there. Anyway, they can't intimidate him enough for her to leave the bar. So, rich dad in prison, he hires his version of Jimmy, Conor McGregor, to go and be this wild card to punish his son and try to get the bar to close. This may be shocking to you guys, but unfortunately, Conor McGregor isn't a good actor.
Hello, man.
He has this ramped up persona of his MMA career. Once I saw this,
I was trying to be thoughtful. Like on pay-per-view. 25 quid. Watch me pump your face!
I was immediately reminded of this.
Garth, I'm the leprechaun.
Cool it, okay?
I'm the leprechaun.
Stop it, alright?
Don't try and steal me, pot of gold.
However, I did like seeing Conor fight with Jake. That was nice. It's kind of nice seeing McGregor fight and not gas out. Did Jake Gyllenhaal beat the villain or any villain via throat rip? No. How the fuck do you have anything tied to the name Roadhouse and not have a goddamn throat rip? As far as the bar goes and that whole plot line, it's not really a part of the movie. Most of the focus is on this mystery of why this rich brat wants the bar to close and get that land. If they really wanted it, they would do what any actual villain does and just fucking kill her. It is this convoluted land dispute so they can build a resort or some bullshit. What the fuck? Last I checked, this is Roadhouse, not Yellowstone. I'm just here to see a guy take a shitty bar and make it a good bar. John Tapper does a better job than this fucking Dalton did. There were also some odd CGI choices, like CGI in fights. I understand if they were used for moving camera around and camera angles, that's kind of cool, but the CGI wasn't quite good enough to make it look realistic. I was noticing it was CGI and it made people look rubbery. They also did that 300 speed up, slow down shit. Whatever. And the fights were entertaining enough, there just weren't any real stakes. Jake had this thing where he's just so passive that he let himself get hit 90% of the time. He didn't have any defense. He didn't care what happened to him. Dalton cares about other people enough to be there for them and not just let people wreck things all around while he just kind of ignores shit. He's supposed to care about the bar. That's what he gets paid for. The best part of the movie was this boat chase fight. I like seeing boats fight. Awesome boat stunts. Fun stuff there. Again, has nothing to do with the fucking bar. Or a town even. You're on the ocean at that point. Overall, I'd say this isn't really a Roadhouse movie. This remake is not a remake. They're just using Roadhouse branding. The dialogue was sloppy. The story was messy. For what it was, it felt a bit too long. I think they only reused like one line from the original. But they also didn't attempt to add any new, fresh, badass lines that we could say for years and years. Lazy. I'll probably watch it again, and I know I have to watch it thinking it's not a Roadhouse movie, but because it's called Roadhouse and there's some characters with the same name, I have no choice but to compare and contrast. And this thing will never compare to the original. Ever. The OG is just better. 1,000,000 times better. I thought you'd be bigger. What if somebody called my mom a cocksucker? Is she? See ya. Subscribe! And a lot of people pulling knives on each other. Boot knife!
You think you're gonna save these people from Brad Wesley? Well, who's gonna save them from you?